Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, we're going to be going over a few things here, what the HHS is doing, and how many departments and agencies are being cut, because obviously anything else is just remarkable in itself. Because this is too good to be true, right? This is too good to be true. So what we have here from Biomorpha Dive, which is, I don't know if it's even a credible thing, but what we have here, we could go back far and see that this is a common thing. Okay, guys. So the HHS announces transformation to make America, etc. So we will go here. It says HHS to cut 10,000 staff in major restructuring under RFK Jr. Says Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to dramatically reshape the department he leads through mass layoffs and consolidation of the sprawling agency that provides health insurance to tens of millions of Americans, responds to disease outbreaks, and regulates medical products. About 10,000 full-time employees at the Department of Health and Human Services will be let go under Kennedy's plans, which were announced Thursday morning. The planned terminations are in addition to the roughly 10,000 or so employees who have already left HHS through the other Trump administration efforts, such as offers of early retirement. All told, the department will shrink in size by about 25% to about 62,000 full-time employees. That is pretty massive here. Now, obviously, guys, this is something that is ongoing, right? So I think the HHS is cancerous. I think it's all bad, and I don't think it has done anything remotely good in the past, at least, the very least, 4 years, but I think it might be further than that. Even under Trump administration back in 2016, I don't think the HHS was even that good to begin with. HHS will also centralize many functions that are currently spread out across the department, consolidating work involving human resources, information technology, procurement, and policy. The number of HHS regional offices will be cut in half to 5, and the department's 28 divisions will be reduced to 15. This will be a painful period for HHS as we downsize, Kennedy said in taped comments posted to his official announcement on X. We're keenly focused on paring away excess administrators while increasing the number of scientists and frontline health providers. As examples, Kennedy noted how across HHS there are more than 100 communication offices, 40 IT departments, and 9 HR divisions. Why are there 9 HR divisions? What's going on here? Why do you need that many HR divisions? That's insane. And then you have here with 40 IT departments, which I'm not quite sure why we have that many IT departments to begin with, and 100 communication offices. That's also insane. You shouldn't need majority of these things because they're not that big of a deal. HR is just pretty much safety of the company. That's pretty much all it is. It's not. It doesn't. Human resources doesn't actually help people or the people within the company. It just helps the company. In many cases, they don't even talk to each other, he added. They're mainly operating in silos. Essentially saying is they work separately. They do not work together at all whatsoever. Among its 15 consolidated divisions will be a new administration for a healthy America, which will merge several different offices and administrations into a new unit that handles issues like maternal and child health, HIV, AIDS, and environmental health. Kennedy, in throwing his support behind President Donald Trump during the election, has to champion the Make America Healthy Again movement, a broad political coalition that's focused on the rise of chronic disease in the U.S. We aren't just reducing bureaucratic sprawl. We are realigning the organization with its core mission and our new priorities and reversing the chronic disease epidemic, Kennedy said in a separate statement. This department will do more, a lot more, at a lot lower cost to the taxpayer. See, that's the thing, right? Let me put this in a little bit of perspective for you guys to understand, okay? So when you have a whole bunch, the more employees you have, the more money that you have to spend, right? Because you have to pay these people. So that means all that money is going out, and if these organizations are not talking to each other, or these departments are not talking to each other, they're separate from each other, they're not doing anything, then that means they're pretty much useless. They're not helping the actual company or whatever in the scam thing, so you're just wasting money. It's just excess money just going to waste. And the problem is that the problem with this is, normally when you're wasting money to this extent as a company, right, you can't function as a company because you go down because these are immediate excess costs that are way too much. Now, what you do here is, what the problem is that we have to put this as the taxpayer or in terms of the government, the federal government. It just means all this money is being put into is being used, and with that money, there are the inflation or whatever goes up because it's just all this other stuff that we have to pay extra people, more money, more taxes because they pay one of these people. Okay, the less people that there are in there, more taxes start to go down. Things can go down because you don't have to pay as many people, and you could probably get more things done because if everybody is talking to each other, then more things get done correctly. So that's pretty much it. I probably butchered that a tiny bit there, give or take, but that's pretty much the cut of it all. It's actually a really good thing they're doing this because you don't need that many people for this type of job, all right? You really, really don't. Cuts will fall heaviest on the Food and Drug Administration. Yes, the FDA is very, very bad. As I talked yesterday, they did do things where they essentially allow poison into our food. So, with about 3,500 employees affected, according to a department fact sheet, these cuts will not impact drug, medical device, or food reviewers or agency inspectors, the HS said. The policy, compliance, data collection, and regulatory staff are most at risk, as well as those whose jobs might be centralized at HHS, wrote Stephen Grossman, the former executive director of the Alliance for a Stronger FDA and author of the blog FDA Matters. So, yeah, that's what's going on here. And they're working with Doe to fix this, right? Now what we have here is that Trump urges Republicans to defund NPR and PBS. Says President Trump on Thursday renewed a call to defund NPR and PBS a day after top executives from the public broadcasters faced an intense grilling from GOP lawmakers on Capitol Hill. NPR and PBS, two horrible and completely biased platforms / networks, should be defunded by Congress immediately. I agree. Why is our government even funding these companies in the first place? These news networks and stuff. Why is the federal government funding these things? They should be their own independent and be getting money from other things outside of being funded by the government. What are we doing here? Trump wrote late Wednesday on Truth Social, Republicans don't miss this opportunity to rid our country of this giant scam, opening arms of the radical left Democratic Party. Just say no and make America great again. I 100% agree with this. We shouldn't be funding anything at all when it comes to news agencies. That's ridiculous. Republicans on the House Oversight and Government Reforms Delivering on Government Efficiency Subcommittee peppered NPR CEO Kathleen Maher and PBS President Paul Kruger on Wednesday with accusations of bias against conservatives and questions about their funding. So it says NPR took in just over $11 million in federal funding last year. Money, Maher said, is crucial to bringing public broadcasting to local communities, particularly in rural swaths of the country. So what we're going to do here is that we're just going to go here. So it says from Defiant Elves, it says, is NPR biased? NPR CEO, I've never seen political bias. LMAO.
Your business editor for NPR.
How long do you work at NPR?
I believe he was there just over 25 years.
25 years? Award-winning journalist? Did he win any awards?
Our time to
Peabody Award? That's pretty important, isn't it?
That is, absolutely.
So pretty distinguished journalist, right?
Certainly.
And he wrote a long story about what you do at NPR. Is NPR biased?
Congressman, I have never seen any instance of political bias determining editorial decisions. No.
Well, Mr. Berliner,
well, that's
in
weird.
His story last year wrote, in the D.C. area, editorial positions at NPR, he said he found 87 registered Democrats, 0 Republicans. Is that accurate?
We do not track the numbers or the voter registration, but I find that
was award-winning journalist who worked 25 years at NPR, Mr. Berliner, was he lying when he wrote that?
I am not presuming such. I just we don't track that information about our journalists.
87 to 0, and you're not biased?
I think that is concerning if those numbers are accurate.
It's concerning. I mean, it wasn't 44-43. It wasn't 60-27. It wasn't 70-17. It wasn't even 80-7. It was 87 Democrats, 0 Republicans, and you say NPR is not biased. How about the big stories over the last few years? According to Mr.
The thing is that this woman's a chairman. She's an actual chairman, right? And she says, oh, I didn't know about it. Like, what are you talking about? You're a chairman and you don't know the actual stats of this? Like, if you're a person that's a chairman or what have you, and you don't know, like, for a news organization, and you don't know who is on the left and on the right because you have to make sure you're not biased, you should probably make sure that it is, and she doesn't know. Man.
Mr. Berliner, again, he wrote, on the Trump-Russia story, he wrote, "At NPR, we hitched our wagon to Trump's most visible antagonist, Representative Adam Schiff." He said they interviewed him 25 times. Is that accurate?
I was not there at the time, but those numbers sound accurate. Yes.
Those sound accurate. But then he said when the Mueller report came out and they said, Robert Mueller said he found no evidence of collusion, he said Russiagate faded from our programming. Is that accurate?
Again, I was not there at the time. I couldn't say.
You couldn't say?
I was not at NPR at the time.
You didn't prepare for that? You knew we were going to ask you about this guy, didn't you? It's come up like 6,000 times already in the hearing.
I just couldn't say whether it faded from our coverage, sir.
How about this story? October 2020, the New York Post had the Hunter Biden laptop story, and one of those editors, I guess one of those 87 Democrat editors, said this: "We don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories. We don't want to waste the listeners' and readers' times on stories that are just pure distractions." Was that a pure distraction story?
Our current editorial leadership believes that that was a mistake, as do I.
Yeah, the whole country knows that was a mistake. Definitely impacted the election, or I think it certainly impacted the election. How about the COVID origin story? That's a pretty big story too, right? Mr. Berliner said, "We became fervent members of the team Natural Origin, even declaring that the lab leak was debunked by scientists." Turns out, though, the lab leak is what most people think actually caused the COVID virus.
Sorry, sir. Is there a question there?
There is. You guys were 0 for 3 on the three of the biggest stories in the last 5 years. You guys were 0 for 3, and yet you maintain that NPR is not biased?
Congressman, I do not believe we are politically biased. No, we are a nonpartisan organization.
Nonpartisan organization.
Right, but you're also getting fed by by the federal government, right? This is being shown. And then we have this from Amuse saying, state-funded media, NPR's CEO Catherine Marr explained, "Truth is, a detraction from getting things done. She didn't realize that 100% of NPR's editorial staff were Democrats, has never seen any bias in the newsroom." This is what she has to say.
The most significant differences, critical for moving from polarization to productivity, is that the Wikipedians who write these articles aren't actually focused on finding the truth. They're working for something that's a little bit more attainable, which is the best of what we can know right now. And after 7 years there, I actually believe that they're onto something. That for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth isn't necessarily the best place to start. In fact, I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done. But
yeah, so again, it says, again, from Amuse saying Grog is falsely claiming Catherine Meyer didn't say that she had never had any bias in the newsroom at NPR. Here's her saying that under oath yesterday. So, again, these people are just disgusting, right? And like, what we has here is that a member of the Council of Foreign Relations, Meyer worked for UNSCF, the National Democratic Institute, the World Bank, and Access Now before joining the Wikimedia Foundation. She subsequently joined the Atlantic Council and the U.S. Department of State's Foreign Affairs Policy Board. So, again, this is not good, right? Like, obviously, it's not hard to understand that NPR is incredibly biased. It's really not that difficult to figure it out. And if people think otherwise, they're living in a delusional bubble, and it takes time for people to get out of it. So, yeah, they're looking to cut that out, and NPR, CDC, and FDA are going to be removed, and it's all hilarious. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Let's guys share. As always, take care, my friends.